Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. So today I'm taking a look at Fatekeeper, which was released yesterday, June 2nd, as of this recording. Currently priced at $8 and it's in early access on Steam. Developed by Paraglacia and published by THQ Nordic. So this is another typical Unreal Engine 5 title. I remember I saw this game, I believe, last year, a couple of years ago, one of the game show presentation. It seemed pretty interesting. Sort of like reminded me of Dark Messiah and Lynched In Battle Mage. I don't know if you remember those games from way back when, before the fake pixel RTX DLSS NVIDIA trash ruined the gaming industry. Anyway, back then, you tend to have games like this, which were fairly common on the PC. So this game, this is, like I said, on Engine 5 title. So I do have to play with DLSS quality. I will show the settings later on, showing what settings that I used, and talk a little bit about the recommended system requirement on Steam. You can see, looking at the first line, the GPU information. It's doing okay for an Unreal Engine 5 title. GPU wattage is roughly at 290, fluctuates between 280 and 290 watts. This is with DLSS quality. So keep in mind the actual real resolution when you're using the fake pixel blurry DLSS set to quality is actually 1720 by 960, I believe. So it is pretty low compared to native 1440p. Obviously, that is then upscaled to my native 1440p, 2560 by 1440p resolution. Hence why the GPU wattage is lower. Typically, if I play at native resolution, it does fluctuate between 320 and 330 watts. Mind you, my system, both the CPU and the GPU, are overclocked. So yeah, GPU usage is 99%, fluctuates. As far as VRAM, Unreal Engine 5, for the most part, is typically conservative when it comes to VRAM. So it's quite interesting seeing that this game is using roughly 8.8 gigabyte frame buffer, which is quite high. So if you have an 8 gigabyte GPU, RTX 3070, which is one of the GPU this game recommends, forget about it. You're gonna have to turn down some settings. You can see my average FPS. I know it shows 66, but typically in the forested area and back there with the river and all the reflection, it does drop down to the low to mid 40s. So I'm guessing this game is using some form of software lumen, if I have to guess. You can see that in the reflection in the water. And it heavily uses Unreal Engine spaghetti code, unoptimized trash like nanites. I can tell just by looking at it, and virtual shadow mapping, and you can see there in the water reflection it is using lumen. So it's another one of those games where I would say if you want to play this game comfortably, you probably might need a 3080 and above. So what can I say? This is the world we live in. We game developers just keep abusing this garbage engine, Unreal Engine 5. That's why the gaming industry is where it is right now. It's a complete joke, relying on fake pixels and blurry smear upscaling techniques like DLSS, FSR, XCSS. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. No need to keep beating the same dead horse. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to jump into the settings and just take a look at the settings used, like I said, and go from there and just talk about the game overall. So stay tuned. As far as recommended system requirement, it recommends the Intel Core i7-10700K, Ryzen 5 3600X, 32 gigabytes of system memory, RTX 3070, RX 6800 XT, DX12, 45 gigabytes of storage space. I'm guessing SSD recommended. So the actual file size when I installed it was about 36.8 GB installed to my NVMe drive. So there is quite a disparity between the 3070 and the 6800 XT, which makes me wonder. Actually, begs the question that this game is most likely an NVIDIA sponsored title because the 6800 XT is analogous in terms of performance to the RTX 3080. So yeah, I mean, it's an Unreal Engine 5 title. I have absolutely zero expectation. I expect the game to have that typical Unreal Engine 5 blurriness and overall shitty performance, but that's what I'm here to find out. So keep in mind this video is recorded using a 4K 60Hz capture card recorded directly to my iMac, so there shouldn't be any performance loss. I do have the latest NVIDIA driver installed, driver version 610.47, released May 26th. Here I am at the main menu of Fatekeeper. This game does have a shader precompilation process, which took roughly 2 minutes on my hardware. I do have an Intel Core i9 9900K overclocked to 5 GHz, so your mileage may vary. Looking in the settings page, so display mode, you have your typical full screen, windowed, full screen, or windowed mode. I'll always go with full screen, unlimited FPS checked, no VSync enabled. As far as the graphical preset, the game defaulted to ultra everything. You can see view distance, anti-aliasing, shadow, global illumination, reflection, post-processing, texture, effects, foliage, shading, landscape, and then there's this new feature I've never seen before. I'm guessing it's new to UE5 megalights, so all that is enabled. You know, that said, I do have fake pixel DLSS, blurry DLSS set to quality. You know, at this point I have no choice. This is Unreal Engine 5, the worst gaming engine in history, so games using this engine tend to run like shit, so I have no choice but to use the fake pixel algorithm DLSS. So stay tuned for the performance overview. So here I am in the first combat, the first open area tutorial. So looking at the combat, I have to be honest, it's not the best, it's not the most intuitive. There is some input delay. And also you can see the FOV is quite narrow. I do wish, I hope the final game has an FOV slider included. That would definitely greatly benefit the game, at least on the PC for certain. And also, you know, improve the input delay a little bit. It does have that artificial input delay and wait system. Almost sort of like reminds me a little bit of Killzone 2 on the PlayStation 3. But yeah, looking at the combat, you know, it's nothing revolutionary. You know, I wouldn't say the combat is the best. Dark Messiah, they came out way back when, you know, what, 15 years ago, that runs on the Source engine, actually has a much better combat than this. Definitely more responsive and, you know, actually just better overall than this. But this is not bad, you know, it's 2026. You know, I'll take what I can get at this point. So yeah, you can see the performance metrics. This is still DLSS, everything set to ultra, DLSS quality. VRAM usage is always going to push over 8 gigabytes. So this is one of the Unreal Engine 5 title that is quite heavy in terms of like VRAM usage, and system RAM is fairly decent. It's under 12 gigabytes. So if you have a 16 gigabyte system memory, you should do just fine. So I'm not sure why this game recommended 32 gigabytes. That's a little bit overkill. If you have 16 gigabyte, you should do just fine. CPU threads, cores, usage, temps and wattage seems normal. You know, keep in mind, like I said, my system is overclocked to 5 gigahertz, so I'm using 20% usage overall, cores and threads, or 8 cores and 16 threads, and temps is in the low to mid 50s, and wattage low to mid 50s, which is fantastic. That's what I like to see. GPU wattage has dropped to roughly 280, you know, around that range, which is not bad. I've seen much worse. Recently released Samsung game, which is another Unreal Engine 5 title, runs far worse and looks far worse than this. But this is not bad. So the graphics look decent. They're okay. The graphics is okay. It's definitely nothing to write home about, you know. I will say that, you know, this is typical for quote unquote modern games where the environment is very static. So if you saw during the intro, I tried to kick a barrel and interact with the foliage, and obviously it doesn't move. It's Unreal Engine. Everything is just static. It's just there just to look pretty, you know. But you know, it's whatever. A game like a game like Crisis 2007 has far advanced physics and interactability than a game 19 almost 20 years later, which is just shows the state of the gaming industry. Absolute joke. But anyway, you can see the reflection there. It is using Lumen, if I have to guess, software Lumen. And it does have the virtual shadow mapping and nanite. There's very little popping, but there is a few here and there. The blood decal tends to disappear once it's on screen for a longer period of time. But as far as like traversal, you won't notice a lot of pop-in. So, typical nanites. But yeah, so I'm going to leave you with the rest of the game. Just take a look at the performance, decide for yourself if you want to pick this up. Like I said, it's $8 on Steam. So if you want to support the devs, early access, by all means, do so. But you're going to need a fairly decent hardware to play this game.